Arrays are one of the most fundamental and widely used data structures, and understanding how to effectively manipulate arrays is crucial when working with automation processes in Power Automate. An array is essentially a collection of elements, values, or objects that are stored in a single variable. Each element in an array can be accessed using an index, and you can perform several operations like adding, removing, or modifying the elements in that array. In this session, we are going to explore in great detail how to work with arrays in Power Automate, focusing specifically on initializing arrays, accessing elements by index, appending items to an array, removing items from an array, advanced array manipulations using expressions like union, skip, and take. Throughout this learning experience, we will continuously test our flow, ensuring we know how each action is affecting our array. Debugging is crucial, and I will show you how to test your flow after each modification to confirm that the operations you are performing are working as expected. This module is designed for those new to Power Automate or anyone unfamiliar with arrays and array operations, so we will take everything step by step, explaining the concepts and providing practical examples along the way. Let's dive in. Step 1. The first step to working with arrays in Power Automate is to create a new flow where we will carry out all of our operations. Here's how to set that up. Open Power Automate from your Office 365 dashboard or directly via the Power Automate website. In the left menu, click on Create. Select Instant Cloud Flow. This type of flow allows you to manually trigger the flow, which is ideal for our purposes because we'll want to test the flow multiple times. Name the flow something meaningful, like Array Indices Manipulation Example. Naming your flows clearly is important, especially when you work on multiple projects in Power Automate. Under Choose How to Trigger this flow, select Manually Trigger a Flow, and click Create. Now we have a blank flow ready for us to begin building out array operations. Let's start by creating an array variable. Step 2. Initializing the array. In Power Automate, initializing a variable means setting its initial value. For arrays, this means defining the list of elements the array will contain. Arrays are useful when working with data that is inherently sequential, such as lists of customers, product inventories, emails, or any other set of items. In this step, we'll initialize an array of string values representing a list of fruits. Click the plus button below the trigger and select Add an Action. In the Action search bar, type Initialize Variable and choose the Initialize Variable action. Set the name of the variable to myArray. This is the variable that will store our array. In the Type dropdown, choose Array. In the Value field, input this array of string values: apple, banana, cherry, date, elderberry. These are the elements we want to store in our array. Here's how our array looks. Index 0, apple, index 1, banana, index 2, cherry, index 3, date, index 4, elderberry. Notice that arrays in Power Automate, like most programming languages, are zero-indexed, meaning the first item is at index 0, the second item at index 1, and so on. Best practice. When initializing arrays, it's important to keep your data types consistent. Arrays can store any type of value, but mixing data types, storing both strings and numbers in the same array, can lead to issues when processing the array. In this example, we are working with an array of strings, which is a good starting point for learning about arrays. Now that we have initialized the array, it's time to start working with it. Step 3. Accessing elements. By index, a common operation when working with arrays is accessing a specific element by its index. The index is the position of an item in the array, starting from 0 for the first element. Let's say we want to access the second item in our array, which is banana. Since arrays are zero-indexed, banana is at index 1. Click plus to add a new action and select Compose from the list of actions. In the Inputs field of the Compose action, type the following expression to access the second item in the array. myArray1. This expression tells Power Automate to retrieve the element at index 1 from the array, which in this case is banana. Best practice: whenever you need to access a specific element in an array, using the Compose action is an excellent way to test your expressions. It allows you to debug and confirm that your expressions are working correctly before you move on to more complex operations. Once you have added the action, click Save to save your changes. Now it's time to run the flow and confirm that our Compose action is correctly accessing the element at index 1 in the array. Click Test in the top right corner. Choose the Manually option and click Test again. After the flow runs, scroll down to the Compose action to view its output. You should see the result, banana, which confirms that the array element at index 1 has been accessed correctly. Debugging is an essential part of working with arrays, and any automation, in Power Automate. As you progress in this module, you'll use the test functionality frequently to confirm that each action you add works as expected. Step 5. Appending an item to the arrays in Power Automate are dynamic, meaning you can add or remove items as needed. Next, let's append a new item to our array. This is done using the Append to Array Variable action. Click the plus button and select Add an Action. In the Action search bar, type Append to Array Variable and select it. Set the name field to myArray, the array we initialized earlier. In the Value field, type Fig. This will append Fig to the end of our array. Once this action is executed, the array will look like this: apple, banana, cherry, date, elderberry, fig. To verify that the item has been added, add another Compose action. In the Inputs field of this Compose, type myArray. Best practice: appending to an array is a useful action when you need to build up a list of items dynamically, such as collecting responses from a survey or adding products to an order. Always remember to test after appending to confirm that your array is being updated as expected. Click Save and then proceed to the next step. Step 6. Testing the flow again. Let's test our flow once more to ensure that the new item, Fig, has been successfully appended to the array. Click Test in the top right corner. Run the flow manually, just as we did earlier. Scroll down to the second Compose action to check the updated array. The output of the second Compose action should now be apple, banana, cherry, date, elderberry, fig. This confirms that fig has been added to the array. Step 7. Removing an item from the array. Removing an item from an array is another common task. Although Power Automate doesn't have a specific remove from array action, we can achieve this using expressions like skip, which allows us to skip over the items we don't want. In this example, we'll remove the first item from the array, apple. Add a new Compose action. In the Inputs field, type the following expression: skip my array, 1. This expression tells Power Automate to skip the first item in the array and return the rest of the items. In this case, it will remove apple. Once executed, the array will look like this: banana, cherry, date, elderberry, fig. Click Save and let's test the flow. Testing the flow. Click Test and run the flow manually. Check the output of the Compose action with the skip expression. The array should now look like banana, cherry, date, elderberry, fig. Best practice: when removing items from an array, ensure that you are clear about the index or criteria for removal. If you need to remove multiple items based on conditions, you may want to use more advanced filtering techniques or expressions, which we'll explore in later modules. When building flows in Power Automate, It's considered a best practice to rename compose actions with descriptive names to make the flow more readable and easier to understand, especially when reviewing or sharing it with others. In this case, we renamed the following compose actions. Second item. This compose action is used to extract the second item from a collection or an array, allowing direct access to that specific item without needing to iterate through the entire dataset. Debug myArray. This compose action was renamed to help with debugging the flow. It outputs the contents of the myArray variable, providing visibility into the data to ensure everything is functioning as expected during flow execution. Remove first item. This compose action performs a transformation on the original array, removing the first item and returning the updated array. It's useful when you need to work with the remainder of the array without the initial element. Renaming these compose actions in such a way enhances the overall clarity of the flow, making it easier to maintain, troubleshoot, and understand, especially in more complex scenarios. Step 8. Combining arrays using union. The union expression is powerful for combining two arrays and eliminating duplicate values. This is especially useful when you are working with datasets that may have overlap, and you want to combine them without duplication. Let's use the union expression to combine two portions of our original array. Add a new compose action. In the inputs field, type the following expression: union take myArray, 3 skip myArray 3. This expression combines the first three items of the array using take myArray 3 with the remaining items using skip myArray 3. If there were any duplicates between these two portions, they would be removed. Save the flow. Testing the flow. After testing the flow, the output will return the full array, as we aren't introducing any duplicates in this example. However, the union expression ensures that if there were duplicates, they would be eliminated. Conclusion. In this module, we've thoroughly explored how to initialize and manipulate arrays in Power Automate. We've covered initializing an array with a set of values, accessing specific elements using their index, appending new items to an array, removing items from an array using expressions like skip, combining arrays and eliminating duplicates using the union expression. Working with arrays is essential for automating processes that involve lists or sequences of data. Understanding how to access and manipulate array elements opens up a wide range of possibilities for automating workflows in Power Automate. Best practices recap. Always maintain consistency in data types within arrays. Test frequently using compose actions to verify your array manipulations. Use expressions like union and skip wisely, ensuring you understand their effects on your dataset. Keep your flow design simple and modular to make debugging easier as you build more complex automations. As you continue to practice, you will find arrays to be an invaluable tool in your automation toolkit. In future modules, we'll delve into more advanced topics like filtering arrays and working with loops to process each element in an array. For now, continue experimenting with these basic array operations to solidify your understanding.